I'm going to bedline my Jeep. So the stuff I've already done is remove the 2 seats. So each seat has 4 bolts, 1, 2, 3, 4, and one is always bigger. So this one, and then the one in this corner over here is a larger bolt. For me, they were 1/2 inch and 5/8. Then for the driver's seat, you just got to unplug this little seatbelt clip. Then the next thing I did was remove all the drain plugs. So there's one here on both sides, just one here, and then 2 small ones on both sides over here. You obviously remove the carpet, and then I vacuumed it out first, and the next step is going to be painter's tape. So we just got to mark off every area we don't want to touch first. So I just started already. I'm just going like this. So I'm using Herculiner over here and doing it by hand. If you're going to use a spray one, like with an air nozzle, you're going to have to do a lot more prep work, just masking, like covering all of this. But since I'm doing it by hand, it'll be more work applying it, but less prep work. So yeah, I'm just going to tape up everywhere that I don't want to get. It's going to take a minute. Being a little lazy with this, you might want to take out the center console if you want to do a really good job and get underneath there. But so I just taped everywhere, taped the pedals, and now the next step is going to be to sand it. You just want to scuff up the paint a little bit to let it adhere a little better and get rid of the gloss coat. So I'm going to use like about 100-150 grit with the powered sander and just go over the whole vehicle. Using this electric puck sander, 120 grit, and then the hard to reach places I use this pad that just came with the kit. Make sure you hit any like rusted areas especially good, and you just don't want to leave any glossy area behind. So you're just trying to scuff up the whole interior. So this also created a lot of dust and stuff that now we're going to go with a vacuum again and vacuum it all up, and then we're going to do a little more cleaning before we actually start painting. Next part, we're going to wipe down the entire interior with xylene. It's an alcohol base to really clean it. This did not come with the kit. I bought this separately for about 10 bucks, and you're going to want a rag. You're probably going to want rubber gloves and a face mask too. We're just going to coat the whole area that we're going to paint and then let it dry for about 10 minutes. We're almost ready to apply the Herculiner itself. So what came with the kit is this gallon of Herculiner, this one little paintbrush, and then these 2 rollers and this pad that I used earlier. So it says, so obviously you open it, stir it up. First thing we're going to do is go for the tight spots with the brush, and then afterwards use the rollers. So there's 2 rollers, one for each coat. So you apply a coat, let it dry for, it said 1 to 4 hours, and then do the second coat. Second coat needs to be within 24 hours of the first coat. And also you're going to want gloves. And yeah, it says just dabbing is usually better than rolling, and we'll see how it turns out. Here it is after my first coat. The dabbing thing that I talked about is actually really important, because if you roll, a lot of times it'll kind of like push stuff away and you have to go back and dab over it. So you can still see some like little red through it. It's not perfect. I spent probably an hour, but I'm going to try tomorrow with the second coat. Make sure that it's totally filled in, and then touch up again after the second coat dries. Second coat of the bedline done right now. One thing I will say is if you didn't cover up bolt holes that you want to use, so these for the seat, I took the bolts and screwed them in, took them out, cleaned off any of the Herculiner that might have gotten into the threads, and did that for all of them just to make sure that when I go to put the seat back it'll work. So I'm going to let this dry for another, like, I don't know, probably at least 6 hours, and then maybe I have just a little bit of Herculiner left, like maybe 5% of what I started with, maybe touch up on some areas, do a little extra in the heavy use areas, but it's looking pretty good. Maybe I should have done the tailgate, I don't know. Yeah, not bad.